The Christ Letters, with enhanced narration and text. Letter 5.11. The Secret of Creation, Impulses. It is at this point that you must become fully aware of the meaning of impulse. You may think that this seems a very nebulous form of creativity, but if you reflect for a while, you may eventually realize that no human or animal or insect or even plant undertakes any activity within the material dimension without an inner consciousness coercion, which is an impulse. It may be to turn to face the sun, to run, to eat, to work, to sleep, to go shopping, to have a baby. Always the impulse precedes the activity, even the flick of an eyelid. Furthermore, there is no impulse prompting any activity which is not directed by a purpose. Plants turn flowers and leaves to catch the rays of the sun for growth. People run to get fit, eat to satisfy hunger, work to earn a salary, sleep to escape the tensions and recharge the energy, go shopping to buy food, all directed at survival and personal comfort. Therefore, the impulses are the reality behind and within all creation. If all matter were to return to its original form of electrical particles, the universal impulses would remain intact and would eventually give form to another creation. The impulses are forever. However, electrical particles within living matter are here today and gone tomorrow, but the soul moves on. You think with electrical impulses in the brain. You feel with magnetic impulses in your nervous system. They center and bond the electrical impulses into a cohesive whole. Without the magnetic bonding in your system, you would be all go, go and no, no, no. Now is the moment to take you back to my desert experiences, described to you in Letter 1. You may remember that when I went to the River Jordan to be baptized by John, I was a rebel, my face set against the teachings of the Jews, who stated that Jehovah punished men for their sins. Intuitively, I felt that this was a false and cruel concept and rejected it. After I was shown the truth concerning creation, I could not understand why perfect consciousness did not create perfect beings, made in the image of their Creator, intelligent love. I asked the Creator, universal consciousness, why mankind endured so much suffering and evil. I was then shown very clearly that all the problems experienced by humans arose from the central point of the self. Science now calls this the ego. It manifested itself in the personality as a driving need to defend the self from criticism or emotional physical attack, and a similar driving need to push aside other people in order to arrive first in the race of life. It also manifested itself in the personality as a driving need to take all that was best for the self, despite the opposition of others, and a similar driving need to hold on to personal possessions, be they relatives, friends, material goods, or achievements, despite any opposition. I was also made to understand that without these two fundamental, eternal, undeviating impulses of creative being, there would be no creation. This is the secret of creation and the secret of existence and of individual being. By working together as a team, separately but inseparable, in the visible world, these twin impulses were the means by which the substance of matter itself has been created out of the sublime universal consciousness. One impulse of creativity is the I-ness of activity. This impulse of activity is universal and stems from only one source. Activity is a movement in consciousness, and consciousness in movement. The other creative impulse possesses, figuratively speaking, two faces, looking in opposite directions. They are bonding, rejection, pull towards the self, push away from the self, otherwise known as attraction, repulsion. Attract to the self, repel from the self, within consciousness. These are the only means by which earthly existence has been achieved. The entire universe is a manifestation of the creative power active within these twin impulses of physical being, creating matter and individual form. This is one of the fundamental secrets of the universe. I saw that the core of the personality, or ego, as it is now called, had been created guardian of personality, and was irresistibly imprinted with the magnetic impulse to ensure privacy and survival, for the protection of the individual I-ness. This was accomplished by using the two faces of the second impulse of being, bonding, rejection, to secure individuality. The face of bonding drags, draws, attracts, demands, pulls, buys, grabs, clutches, clings to the people and possessions it craves. This impulse creates an illusion of security in togetherness and possessions. It is the tool of Mother Consciousness, inspiring the building of families, communities, and nations. It can be productive of beauty, joy, harmony, and love. It can also wreck lives and destroy communities when it is ego-driven. The face of rejection repels, thrusts aside, pushes away, evades everything: people, animals, possessions it does not want. Thus, the impulse of rejection creates an illusion of privacy and security. It is the impulse that urges rifts in families, relationships, communities, and nations. It is supposedly geared to saving lives, ensuring protection and privacy, but is a destructive force when it is ego-driven. Without these twin impulses of being, all things would have remained forever merged into one another within the eternal timelessness of universal creative power in equilibrium. Without these twin impulses, there would be no interplay of give and take and pull and push, necessary to the creation of the millions of personal experiences out of which personality grows and evolves. Therefore, the problem of personality and the ego drive endured by all living things and mankind is an irrevocable, unavoidable fact of creation. Any other explanation is pure myth. I saw that what men called sin was the direct result of the interplay of the bonding rejection impulses within human nature. The bonding rejection impulses constituted the emotional mental mask worn by all created individual entities, including birds and animals. You see these impulses at work within all of nature, even within plant life. The bonding rejection impulses directs the behavior towards survival of all entities in creation. There was no escaping the bonding rejection impulses. These twin impulses were the ephemeral source of all worldly comfort, pleasure, happiness, and also the source of all sickness, misery, and deprivation in the world. However, added to these, transcending, underlying, and interpenetrating all is the life born of the explosion of universal consciousness, is the very foundation and source of earthly consciousness. Therefore, even as the father-mother consciousness is creative, so is man's thinking creative. For human thought and feeling are both the exercise and union of the twin tools of father-mother consciousness. Therefore, these impulses of bonding rejection in the individual personality also become highly creative, in that they determine and make visible the consciousness forms of things desired and things rejected. This is the second fundamental secret of the universe. I saw that sin was an artificial concept, expediently devised by men to describe any human activity causing pain to others. Because of their natural makeup of grabbing from other people and of rudely repelling them in order to get what they wanted from life, it was inevitable that all human beings would, at some time, cause other human beings some form of distress or suffering. This human propensity to hurt others in no way caused offense to universal consciousness, God, as was affirmed by the Jewish and Christian religion. Only mankind understood the meaning of the word sin, since only mankind and all of creation subject to mankind would ever know the pain, deprivation, and misery caused by the two fundamental impulses of individuality, bonding, rejection, active within the human personality. Man's inbuilt impulse to protect his own individuality had made him set up rules and laws for human society. The universal creative power, love, had absolutely nothing to do with the setting up of human restrictions, limitations, laws, and judgment. I also saw that the Father-Mother creative power, life, continually flowed through all the universe and was the life in my mind, using the twin impulses of thought and feeling. Hence, any powerful, imperfect thinking and feeling could disturb and change the consciousness pattern of created things. Conversely, my thinking, when fully cleansed of the twin impulses of ego and fully receptive of the Father-Mother creative power, intelligence, love, would reintroduce the condition of perfect, intelligent love. Therefore, a condition previously made imperfect as a result of imperfect thought could be brought back into a condition of wholeness again by changing ego attitudes and thoughts to those of unconditional love. My mind was a tool of the whole creative process originating in the universal. Now that I knew this was so, knew it spiritually, intellectually, emotionally, I realized I could and must take steps to overcome the twin impulses of ego previously governing my mind in order to allow the divine reality full scope through my mind and brain. This is why there was a struggle between my humanly entrenched ego and my Father-Mother consciousness during the very strident temptations I experienced at the end of my enlightenment in the desert. Satan had nothing to do with the tug-of-war which took place within my consciousness. The war was waged between the twin impulses of individuality, bonding, rejection, and the divine reality which had made itself known to me as intelligent love life, transcendent yet within me, and which would gradually take over my individuality to an even greater extent if I continually meditated and cleared my consciousness of selfish impulses. The foregoing is a description of the powerful knowledge I returned to Nazareth with. Therefore, my physically healing time, spent with my mother whilst she nursed me back to health, was also a time of prayer and meditation, from which I drew the inspiration and strength to consciously and conscientiously live the nature of the divine or universal reality. As you know, the nature of the divine or universal reality is life. When it is active within creation, or we can also say within the individuality of creation, it grows, nourishes, provides nutrition, regenerates, heals, protects, ensures survival, fulfills the needs of everything created, all within a system of perfect harmony, cooperation, and law and order. This is the nature of life. All its work in creation is done in accordance with universal nature, the promotion of the highest good of all living things. If you can understand these words, you will realize why I returned from the desert, a man filled with joy, with a new awareness of the beauty of the world, a feeling of absolute confidence, and knowing it was possible to control the appearance of matter. You will feel with me my own elation that I could now offer the Jews the glorious news that the kingdom of heaven was in their midst. All they had to do was find it with my assistance, and their lives would be changed forever. I leave you with the same knowledge which, prayerfully used and fully understood, can change the course of your life. As you read, your consciousness will be lifted, and as you seek inspiration, it will come to you. I long for you to understand, aspire, grow, and achieve. Relax in my light, for whilst you read, reflect, meditate, and pray, you are drawn into my Christ consciousness, which will become ever more apparent to you as you evolve within this divine knowledge. My love and faith in your growing wisdom enfold you.